Hello, today I am making a mask similar to the one that you saw before in the video. I just wanted to show you how I made it. It's going to be slightly different. So for that I have a plexiglass round that is 12 inches, I believe. Yes, it's 12 inches in diameter, and I have already created this face using a mold and air dry clay. Last time I used just an ordinary plastic mask like this one. I just want to change it a bit this time. So I am going to list all the products that are needed in the description of this post. And I'm gonna get started. It will have to be several small videos because I will have to gather more materials as I go along. But we are going to start with this, and with a glue gun. I am going to stick the face to the plexiglass with hot glue, and we will take it from there. It doesn't have to be perfect because everything is going to be covered anyway, so let's just put it into position. I think that's right, and I'm gonna clean this as soon as it dries. And now, because the mask is heavy, I am going to add a thick layer of glue all along the edge, and this is going to hold it into place. It really doesn't matter how it looks, since we are going to use fabric and embellishments to cover everything. Okay, I'm gonna go around. I'm not sure what this camera catches. I'm still wearing my pajamas, but hey, it's Saturday afternoon and I'm gonna stay in my pajamas all day long. So we are going to let this dry, and next step, I cut some wooden dowels. Well, it was a long one and I cut it into smaller pieces, and I'm going to use these to for supports for the fabric and the decorations, embellishments. So this is going to go here. Here's one, and let's add some glue. Great, I need a new glue. 1 second, give me 1 moment please. Okay, here we go. And then, no, that's too long. Let's put a shorter one somewhere here. It's gonna look very nasty for a while until we start giving it the shape. Okay, that's the right position. Let's put one more here, I guess. And the shortest one. I am left-handed and it's very hard for me to do things with the right hand, which I have to do at times. This one will go down here. And maybe we should put a shorter one up here. I guess, yes. Now let's make sure that this one stays in place. And don't have enough cable for this. Power point is, power outlet is far. Okay, so we are going to let it cool down and harden while I am going to prepare everything else. So for now, that's the very first part of my video. I'll be right back. The next step will be to add a black lace mask on the face. I just decided to do it. Hopefully it will look nice. Don't tell me that this is not working again. Oh great, started my video without glue. I apologize for that. So let's just go around the face. So let's see how this is going to go here. Yeah, that's fine. Can stay. I don't really need to make it any more rigid because it's gonna stay. It's gonna be covered in paint anyway, so it won't remain flexible because of that, since it covers a flat surface. I cannot say the same for the rest of the fabric, which will need to be hardened. So I'm gonna let this dry for a moment and get back to you. Okay, I have now lifted the whole thing on a jar of gel because I need room to work underneath. What I am going to do now is going to be very messy but oddly satisfying. I am using Powertex Universal Medium. It is the #1 fabric hardener in the world, and for all the good reasons. It is absolutely spectacular. I have used it before. A friend of mine allowed me to use some of it, some of hers, for my first mask, and I fell in love with it ever since. It is thick. It gets very sticky, so I am just going to put it here. I have it in black, but I also bought it in ivory, and it is also available in transparent if you want to preserve the color of the cloth, of the fabric. I probably put too much, but I am going to be messy anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use fabric. I'm going to dip it in it. Normally I should use gloves, but I just won't, because I don't have the right size, and the ones I have are too large and I cannot work. So I'm just going to stick my hands in here, and it's going to be absolutely messy, but that's absolutely fine too. So I am dipping this in, making sure I cover it thoroughly, and this doesn't work with synthetic fabric. It doesn't stick to plastic, you can use cotton, for instance. You can use linen. Okay, that's what I'm using now, actually, but it's a weirdly soft fabric. So now I'm removing the excess, and yes, it looks very, very messy. So now I am going to, oh here, see, I have to open the fabric to make sure that it actually goes everywhere. I should have gotten a bigger bowl, but it's okay. I'm gonna make a mess anyway. So removing the excess again. Making sure that it's all covered, because this will harden the fabric by tomorrow. It will be really hard and it will stay in place. So let's start with the longest portion that we have here, and it doesn't really matter if I make a mess around the face, because everything is going to get painted. So let's put our first one here, and I'm going to make as many folds as I possibly can. And I will work a bit more on that off camera, so I won't take too much of your time. And now let's find a really short one. Dipping it in. I know it looks, to some it may look disgusting, but it's actually fun, and it cleans really well. Soap and warm water will clean it very well, so it won't take long after that for me to have clean hands again. And it may go under the fingernails, but it washes off eventually. By tomorrow my nails will be clean, so I'm not worried about that. So this one, let's start it up here. More places. As it dries, I will reshape it slightly, which probably will be off camera, but just letting you know what I'm doing. I will reshape it so it doesn't fall around the dowel like it does right now when it's wet. Surprisingly, in the end, this is going to look really really good, believe it or not. But that's how all art pieces start: messy, nasty looking, and eventually they look beautiful when we are all done. One thing that I didn't do, normally, since this is a wall hanging, I was supposed to use double epoxy, the one that you mix in the 2 parts epoxy, I'm sorry, to put a hook at the back and then to paint the entire back in black. Somehow I cannot find my epoxy, so I decided that I will leave this for last, which is going to make it difficult for me once everything is on the front. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to deal with it, but I really wanted to make this video because I only have weekends available for the videos, and I know that my start of the page wasn't very a very good one, since I took a couple of weeks between videos to start with. So this is going to go here, but again I will reshape it as it gets harder, to make sure that it doesn't slide down around the dowel. Okay, and we need a tiny one for here at the bottom. Let me find one. Here we go. That's a really thin one. Perhaps many of you know that I was born in Romania, and I don't remember much about it. I immigrated to Australia in I think it was 1990, 1994 or 5, and in Romania we have the Black Sea, and the Black Sea on the, well, very close to the Black Sea, there is a lake, extremely salty. That lake produces, because of the extreme salt, there is a type of bacteria that thrives in that lake, and as the bacteria multiplies, it actually creates a mud that stinks so bad. It's not even funny, but it has miraculous healing properties, so a lot of people come from all around the world to spend time there, and what they do, they just rub that mud all over their body and face, and stay there in the sun to dry. I used to do that as a kid, and for some, so you understand why this looks so familiar to me, because as a kid I was just playing with that mud and putting it all over me. It was fun, but it was stinky. This one is not. Thankfully, it's not stinky, and now I don't have enough, so I am just going to make a mess on the bottle, opening it to try to put some more in. And I'm sorry that I have to do this. It's not the right thing to do in a tutorial, but I have no choice. So you'll forgive me. Once you see my clean hands, you'll be confident that it can be done without too many consequences. Okay, so this is ready now, almost. I really want to make sure I put enough of this thing, but not excessively. So now that we are done with this portion, we are going to actually cover a portion of the chin. We are going to create a fold here, in case we want to stick a couple of things underneath it, and we can make beautiful folds. So for now this will stay like this to dry, and let's do the top. I really hope I have a small portion. Yes, I do, and probably I will need more of the Powertex. Yes, I will. And it washes off the bottle after that. I'm not gonna keep my bottle full of dirty fingerprints. I am going to clean it very easy with a baby wipe, and it's as good as new. I did this before. But I strongly recommend gloves, but just get your right size, because if you get those that are too big, you will simply feel so clumsy with them, preventing you from actually putting the fabric around your items the way you want. It's not fun to use large gloves. Okay, so we are going to cover part of the head with this. I'm gonna go down a bit on the sides, making folds. I'm gonna go more over the forehead. So this, I'm gonna wait for them to harden a bit before I can finalize their shape. I should have put a couple of dowels on each side, but it's gonna stay kind of like this in the end. So I'm going to turn the camera off now and let it dry, after which I am just going to, it's already starting to stick really well. Perfect. Okay, so I will see you in a minute. Oh, there's my husband. He could come really fast and turn the camera off for me. A day later, she is completely dry and the fabric is hard as rock, really. And it looks beautiful, but it's gonna be covered for most part in embellishments. So here is what I am going to do now. I am going to show you what I am going to use, and then I'll start working on her, and from that point in time I will speed the video when it's ready, so that you won't spend hours watching, because that's how long this is gonna take. So here are the embellishments that I plan on using. These are some metal embellishments that I have, and possibly some of the little flowers, ribbons, cheesecloth, more embellishments, gears that I have from mid-form. I think they're in Poland. Scissors, lots of roses, and ruffled lace, and possibly these flatback pearls. And also, well, hang on, because I forgot about that altogether. These are roses that I made out of clay, same clay I made her from, and I will actually make a separate video to show you how I made the roses. This is a dry clay, so I didn't have to put them in the oven. Also, I am using the Powertex 3D balls. These are really big jars. I believe they can last up to a year, and I'm using a lot of 3D balls, and you will see the effect they create. I am also using a 3D gloss gel by Finnabair Art Basics to stick the 3D balls on her, and of course I have my glue gun and a lot of glue sticks, because I am going to need them. Also more metal embellishments here and here. So I will see you in a second when I start working on this. Okay, now she looks awfully messy, but so does my desk. I am a very messy crafter. But I'm gonna clean it up now, so I'm gonna let her dry until tomorrow, and then tomorrow I am going to paint her, spray paint her in black using a, let me show you, just the cheapest flat black from Walmart. I think it's around $3, and it has a paint and primer. And so tomorrow I am going to spray her outside, so I won't be able to take the camera with me, but at least you know what I'm doing. And when she's all dry, I am going to come and paint her. I think I am going to add a bit of the 3D balls here. It looks a bit bare, but I'm gonna